What's the deal, everybody? We are back and we are at the same place, and today we're going to be talking about the Insta360 Sphere camera, and I'm going to be giving you exactly how I use this camera to link up 360 images with my OKLTYR in order to do all the cool stuff like throw some 360 drone images in there. Let's get into it. All right, welcome. And now we are in the studio, even though you just saw me outside, because I wanted to show you the Sphere and how it actually connects to the drone before I teach you how to use the drone, because this is kind of the most important part, right? First thing you'll notice is I have just the regular DJI bag. With just a little bit of rearranging, you can actually fit everything into this. So I'll have this view. I should have a weird view over here and maybe one more view up there. So if all these cameras are working properly, then you'll be able to see this from multiple angles. And if not, then you'll only be seeing it from one, I guess. So here we go. As you can see, I'll pull out my extra battery, Sphere. I still have my third battery and the battery connected to the drone. So everything still fits in the case, nice and simple. Unfold the drone so that way you can see exactly how this works. Now over here, hopefully the top down camera is working. Let me just check this because I think that one's more important than this one. Yep, all right, it's working. So you'll notice it locks around the drone through this part right here, and it has a clip right here with a little safety clip right here. When you pull it up, it's yellow, and that's how you know it's not secure yet. So you're gonna open this thing up and notice the bottom. See how this is shaped. I'll flip it over this way so you can see how it is shaped, and I'll show you why it's shaped that way. We're gonna turn the drone around like so. We're gonna line up the back just like this, and we're gonna place it down where it goes. And see how these holes rest right in between your sensors? It has little grooves on the inside, so it fits exactly the right way. Now, you could also accidentally try and put it on this way, but it will never ever line up properly, and that's how you know you've got it on here the wrong way or backwards. So just flip it to where the flat side goes towards the back of the drone, and that's how it works every single time. Now, the way I like to do it, I take my hand, press it down, flip the drone over, so now it looks like this. We'll set the drone down, bring this side in first, this side in secondary, just like this, and you can see this slides right into here, just like that. We're gonna bring this clip over like so, make sure it's aligned on this part right here, and we're gonna clip it down. And you'll know it's clipped securely when you see that yellow flash. The way it flashes in between right there. So if it gets caught and it looks like I can't get it to mess up on me, so I guess it's working proper. There you go. So if you go to lock it down and you see that yellow stripe right there, you know it's not actually securely locked to the drone, and that's why it's yellow right there. So finagle it around a little bit, push it down, and as soon as that clips into place, it's not going anywhere. It's completely secure to the drone. Now let's get back out in the field. All right, now that we have it all hooked up on the drone and I've shown you that process, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take off these covers and I'm gonna turn on everything. Now, if you didn't see my review video talking about this, keep in mind that this thing does tend to make your satellite pickup time a little bit longer. So I'm actually gonna cut on the drone way before I do anything else. And I'm just gonna let it sit up here for a minute. Now, first thing I want you to notice, can you see that? Let me see if you can see that over there. And here we go. We want to open up the Insta360 app. There we go. It's all opened up. Now I'm going to come back and open the DJI app so I have everything ready to go. Connect these two up just like this, as we've all done before. And I'm going to go ahead, before I start recording on this, I am going to get into here and make sure that my satellites are good, in which they are still not. I'm only at 12, which means I don't have my GPS. I may have to walk around. This is a horrible service signal for me, and that's kind of why I wanted to pick this area, because the area truly has horrible service. I don't even have service on my actual phone. Like, I can't make a phone call. That's how far out I am right now.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map. We
now have our update. Our time is ready to go. Let me back off over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you the launch process. But first, let's go back to the Insta360 software. We are gonna go to the camera itself. We're gonna link up. Well, we're gonna link up as soon as I remember to turn this camera on. So let's grab this, press the power button, hold it for just a moment, and cut on. And you can see on the other side, you can tell if it's actually cut on, which I did not do, because there are some green lights right over here that indicate whether or not you've actually turned it on or not. And now that I have turned it on, we're gonna go ahead, wait for these two to sync up, and then we'll join them together and we'll start our launch. Tap to connect, wait for it to connect. Now, a few things to keep in mind when you're linking these two up is to make sure if you have a VPN on to get rid of the VPN. And if you have a Wi-Fi, make sure to turn on that Wi-Fi. That is not what I wanted to do. I pressed the wrong button. All right, now that we're linked up, let's go on in here and we're gonna go to interval shooting mode. Right here. I'm gonna pick 3 seconds for this one. Usually I pick 5 seconds if I have a lot of flying to do, 3 seconds if I only have a little bit of flying to do. All right, we are in our interval mode. We've selected 3 seconds, got it on auto because that's all you really need, and I'm gonna go ahead and press start. Now I like to watch this for a moment and make sure it actually starts taking pictures before I launch, just to make sure that everything's running smoothly. All right, here we go. Well, it's actually taking pictures, so now we can go on over to the DJI mode and let's fly. Now, as you can see, it has absolutely no problems actually hovering around. Now, it's taking interval shots as we go, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go on up to where I need it to be. I want to make sure it's getting some good shots. So now I'm going to let it hover for a minute so it takes a few at 100 feet. Then I'm going to come on up to about 200 feet and hover for a minute. There we go. 200 feet hover. Then I'm going to come back a little bit. There we go. Look, I'm trying to find the lake. There we go. And let's get right there. There we go. We can see the lake pretty well. Sit here for a couple minutes. Let's come in a little bit closer, like right down here. And we'll hover here for a few minutes. And when I say minutes, I really mean moments, not minutes. Then we can come down here like this, get right into the front yard. And we'll hover right here for a moment so we can get that 360 shot right there. Come all the way down almost, just in case. Just like that. And now we're gonna do our flight back to our launch zone because we have all the 360 images we need. And just like that, man, that was super simple. So here we go, we're coming back to our launch, our landing pad.
Landing.
And just like when it takes off, it lands a little bit wonky too. And there we go. We have now used this drone. I'm going to go back into my Insta360 app. We have to reconnect now since it's come back from flight. And as soon as this reconnects, here we go. You can see in that short amount of time, it's taken 28 photos. We'll stop this, and that's all we have to do. That's, hold on, let's move this over here. There we go. That's it. That's a wrap. That's everything we have to do. If you want to see more, well, what am I even saying here? How do I end this video? Let's go into the studio, man. All right, we're back in the office, and I know the perfect segment to cover next with this camera, and that is troubleshooting, or any issues you may seem to encounter along the way. Just a few that I have. Before we get to that, let me remind you to like and subscribe, all that jazz. If you like this kind of video and you want to see more of it, come on, bring it. Use my affiliate links down below, purchase this camera, purchase something else. use any of those links. You can also support me by buying some of my cool merch, art, or just subscribe to my members platform where I do full real-time edits of real estate videos and other videos I may be working on. I dive deeper into your questions and processes that you may have questions about. Now, with that said, if you've not seen my original video on this camera in particular, you can check it out up above, but I talk specifically about the camera and the horizon line. Generally speaking, as long as the drone is nice and level, you'll have no problems. But once again, it starts getting really windy and your drone lists from side to side, it will throw off that auto horizon level. Here are a few 360 images, not stitched together, just so you can see exactly what I mean. This is why I recommend to hover in a place for a few minutes to allow that camera to take 2 or 3 shots from your most important views, in case that wind is strong and the drone is tilted from side to side when it takes that shot. Keep in mind, these lenses aren't on a gimbal, and they are extremely affected by the wind, unlike the camera that comes with the drone. It has a gimbal and lots of cool stuff to ensure that your photos are straight and level. The Insta360 Sphere handles this by doing all that work in post-production, but as you just saw, some of your images will not come out great, and that's because it's not on a gimbal, it's directly attached to the drone. That's another good reason you're doing the interval shooting to begin with. The next thing I'll remind you about is simply the exposure. I leave mine straight on 0. I've tried overexposing by 0.5 and underexposing by 0.5, but I always find that the perfect exposures tend to be right on 0. That's because unlike with other Insta360 cameras that allow you to export a DNG, I have not been able to actually find that ability for this camera. All I can find is the export of a JPEG. So once again, you're relying on the post-production of the software itself with this camera to do all that heavy lifting, even when it comes to the editing part. And now that we're talking about editing, I'll bring you to one more tip when it comes to exporting. If you're trying to export your reframed images, these reframed images will need to be exported one at a time. If you select all of them and start exporting, they will take the framing from that first shot, even though you've already taken the time to go through and readjust the shot you want. So do yourself a favor, the second you finish adjusting that angle you want to export of that photo by itself, and then move on to the next one. Exporting each one individually, trust me when I tell you, this one will save a lot of your headaches. When it comes to using these images in your OKLTYR, then it's as simple as treating it like every other image in your tour. If you've not seen it or need a refresher, then you can check out the video I did above using that link. And if you want to see the actual OKLTYR that has these images I created during the creation of the video, you can check that out in the video descriptions below. As always, keep rocking and rolling, enjoy what you're doing, make smart business decisions, and think about maybe adding a 360 camera specifically to your drone arsenal. If you're wanting to check out the video I did reviewing this camera in particular, you can check that out over here. And if you just want to see the last video I've uploaded, you can check that out over here. Catch you next time.